Hey there, friends and foes. Good evening, multiverse. This is a very special episode of Weeknight Bites because we're going to be talking about Reboot, but this is our very first episode with a VIP Patreon community member. As part of our Patreon community, our VIP members get to host their own episode of Weeknight Bites with us. And we've got Dennis Posey in the audience in the virtual rec room with us. And we are going to do that here on Back of the Cereal Box.
Saturday morning, it's fun for all. Cartoons and cereal, let's have a ball. Comic books, kaiju, pro wrestling too. The fun is waiting for you. Back of the Cereal Box.
Now, for those of you who have never seen our Weeknight Bites episodes, this is a little bit looser than Saturday morning. Saturday mornings, we're celebrating the fun of Saturday mornings of our youth and navigating adulthood today. And we're called Back of the Cereal Box because when I was a kid, we didn't have iPhones or tablets at the breakfast table. We were literally reading the back of the cereal box. And that's what this show is about. But on our Weeknight Bites, we get to get a little bit looser and we get to talk about things that we normally wouldn't be able to cover on a Saturday morning. But we have to thank our friends who make this show possible. Of course, our Cereal Box super friends, Eli T. Cash, Phoenix Sisters Entertainment, Sharice Collins, Dave Mattingly, Valerie Davidson, Jeremy Bell, Angelina Vaquera Link, Dave Manginelli, Day One Comics, George Soroy, Larry Amiet, Elliot Latham, Robert Alsop, Clyde Hall, Chris Vaglio, and our VIP, Dennis Posey. And we're going to bring him right in. Hey, Dennis, how you doing?
Hey, thanks for having me on.
We're excited to have you on. And, of course, joining Dennis and I is our regular co-host, Willow Schuyler, is back all the way from Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada, because her work schedule, although it doesn't allow her to be on Saturday mornings, it does allow her to be on Wednesday nights. So we're so excited.
I miss you all so much.
Oh, we miss you a ton.
Oh, and Johnny Ionita, thank you for taking the helm on Cryptic Crunch on Sunday.
Oh, you're welcome. It was a great episode. Had a lot of fun. If you guys didn't see Cryptic Crunch this past Sunday, I basically went through Bigfoot and pop culture and the movies and the properties that Bigfoot appears in and talked about why I believe that Bigfoot is absolutely real. So if you missed that, go back and watch it. You can watch the replay on YouTube or Facebook or listen on Apple, Spotify, iHeart, and you can listen to that on both the Back of the Cereal Box and Cryptid Crunch because it is, a syndicated, what do we call that? Simulcast. A simulcast. Yes. Thank you, Dennis. First day with my new words. And we also have to welcome in our friend and yours, your wife's favorite redhead, all the way from Columbia, Tennessee, in a secret bunker, Aubrey Cavett. Aubrey, do we got sound for you?
Hello.
Yes.
Yes.
Check one, check. All right. Excellent. Excellent. Well, before we dive into talking about Reboot, we need to also thank another partner, Dr. Malcolm's Body Bags. Dennis, you look like you're old enough to remember the Mighty Men and Monster Maker from Tomy. This takes it to a whole nother level by doing it in 3D with a set of action figures with interchangeable parts. It is pretty freaking cool.
Right. You can be Sid at home.
Yeah, you could. Yeah, you could. Did you ever have that, the Mighty Men and Monster Maker?
No, I didn't have that one, but I do remember the commercials.
Okay. Well, I still have mine. And
But
it's
I went to Walt Disney World and they had this place called Disney Quest. And one of the things you could do is they had these terminals. It's like Sid's room or Sid's workshop. And you could pit put the pieces you wanted together for your monster. And when you left the Disney Quest, they would have this bag with the parts for the like character or monster that you made on the display, and it was like this. You would pop together. And it only made one. The bag here, I guess, makes a whole bunch of different monsters. But
yeah, it comes in 4 different zippered bags with different pieces and attachments, and it's pretty cool. Now, do I understand, Dennis, that you and Aubrey know each other from another life?
We once ran into each other in the world of conventions. Yes, MTAC, Middle Tennessee.
Yeah, I used to. I have many times, especially before COVID, hosted a bunch of panels at MTAC. I have a huge game collection and a passion for games, so I run big, noisy, audience-involving games at MTAC.
Well, that's fantastic. And I think we're going to talk a little bit about that. Now, normally on Tuesday nights or weeknight nights, Wednesday nights, weeknights, we don't do what's in the bowl. But, Dennis, I understand that you have something that's special to you. So tell us, what is in your bowl?
So I discovered this cereal, or my wife discovered this cereal a few years ago, and now it's the only, like, I'll eat some healthy cereals sometimes, but for the most part, it's the only cereal that I get. And I usually don't have it for breakfast. I have it for special. So this is s'more cereal. Imagine if you bought a box of Cocoa Puffs and a box of Golden Grams, and then you got just the marshmallows out of your favorite cereal with marshmallows, and you put them together. That's what you get in your bowl. And I have not eaten it Aubrey style, right? But I can see why with this cereal you might want to eat it Aubrey style, because you want to eat it before the graham crackers get soggy, like for the golden.
So did you already put milk in that bowl?
I did not.
Okay. Yeah, because the way Aubrey does it is just like it's weird. She's a mutant.
Now, like I said, this is one of those cereals where it's like I'm
from
the
Reboot,
milk.
though.
I won't pour the milk and then go do something. I won't pour the milk until I'm ready to eat it, because I want to eat it before those golden grams get soft.
That's fantastic. So hey, we already have some comments from the audience. One of our loyal audience members, Virgil Tibbs, is joining us. He says, I'm going to have to join. I want to hear my name read aloud. Well, there you go, Virgil.
Well, there you go. Hi, Virgil.
We're talking about Reboot tonight with Dennis. And if you know anything about Reboot, chime in the chat. And of course, if you are a Patreon community member, you have the link to join us on camera, like call-in show style. Only a few minutes. You're going to get 30, 45 seconds to join us, share your thought, and then you're out. But you have that privilege if you're a Patreon member. Nobody else does. So Dennis, you've had the s'mores cereal before. You're chowing down on it now. Mm-hmm. Is it everything that you wished a s'mores cereal would be?
I think it's yes. And I like Golden Grams, and I don't mind Cocoa Puffs, and I like marshmallows in my cereal. But together, it's better than the sum of its parts.
So I'm gonna have to try this, because I've never tried the s'more cereal, and it's a multi-meal bag, but multi-meal is made by my favorite cereal company, Post. So
there is also a Post box. I've never bought it because I was enjoying the multi, but there is also a box that says s'mores on it that I've seen on occasion. So, and talking about the back of the cereal box, the multi-meal kind of cheaps out. There's a QR code,
yeah,
for the games and activities. So it kind of defeats your whole, I don't have a phone or a tablet, I'm only looking at the back of the box.
Yeah.
Now you have to have a phone or a tablet.
Yeah, wait. Hold that up close to the camera. Let our audience scan that QR code. Get it closer if you can. So there's the QR code, and it doesn't take you to a WWE website to tease the Wyatt Six. Excellent. And only a handful of our audience got that reference.
Yes, that's true.
Tabitha is commenting. Tabby Cat, good evening, peeps. Good evening, Tabby. And so we're gonna jump around here. So because this is Dennis's show. I'm just co-hosting. Dennis said he had some stuff he wanted to show off. You said that from your prize from the cereal box, aka New Loot, you've got 300 board games. Is that right?
Wow.
Okay, so first, this is my official prize.
Prize from the
box.
cereal box. A Mickey Mouse hat.
This is a Tron Legacy
Okay, let's see a close up of
mouse
that.
ears.
Oh, sorry.
See.
Ooh.
Okay, here we go. Up my nose. There we go. Tron Legacy limited edition.
That is so cool.
Yeah, it's always in my office. It sits in this came in this velvet lined box,
Ooh.
and
Only available at Disney World or Disney?
and it was only like 300 of them ever made, and it was yeah.
What?
I took some friends of mine with me to Walt Disney World, and I said that hat it's a lot, but I just can't get it.
Do you
So
wear
as
it
a
to
parting
church on Sunday
gift,
morning?
they bought it for me.
Do you wear it to church on Sunday mornings?
I have never worn this to church.
I think this would look great with a tuxedo. An electric blue tuxedo.
Now I want an electric blue tuxedo.
Oh
Yeah.
dear.
But you did mention, so I thought, hopefully we'll do this again sometime. I thought that I would have, so I have 300 games in my collection. So
Okay.
I thought when I'm co-hosting with you, I'll try to find a game in the collection that I think is relates to the topic. So this one is called Robo Rally.
Oh,
I-
yeah, I remember playing that.
I know this game. I gave away a copy of this game at a convention where we hosted and did live shows.
So this is, if you don't remember, this is a game that comes with all these cute little, they're actually plastic. They look like little pewter robots. These are your characters in the game.
Okay.
That's cool.
And you'll have a set of cards in your hand, and you'll create a program. My guy's going to turn to the right, and he's going to go forward 2 spaces, and then he's going to turn to the left, and he's going to shoot. Right? You plan out your moves. Everybody else does the same thing, and then one card at a time, one line of code at a time, you execute this, and your characters are in this crazy environment with conveyor belts and giant chomping axes, and they're moving. So the world that your guys are in is moving on its own, one space or each turn. So it's a great idea, like to think ahead. If I turn here and get on that conveyor belt, I'm going to go 2 spaces that way, and I think the bad guys are going to be over here. So it's a neat game, and it definitely gives the idea of a program in a virtual environment trying to survive. So I thought that was a good fit for it.
I love this. And
honey, weren't you looking for someone to do like a review of games at one point?
yeah. We have another spin-off show, Dennis, that we've not done a new episode of in 4 years, called Big Bowl of Board Games. And it is a board game overview review show. Short, 10, 15 minutes tops. And our former co-host D. Barty and I used to do it together before we did Back at the Cereal Box, and we repurposed all of those reviews for this show. And I've been looking for someone to do that. And so we need to have a conversation offline. because
Sounds
you got
good.
300 of them. That would fill up a
It's
lot
got to be
of
more than that.
episodes.
It really does, but I lost count.
See, I love board games, and board games is one of my favorite things, favorite activities to do because it forces you to turn off the TV, to put the phones down, to disconnect from the media, and really engage and have that one-on-one analog experience that I think is magical.
Yeah.
So, and when I was a kid, I mean, rainy days were board game days. Sunday nights, every Sunday night before Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom and In Search of, after dinner and before those shows, we were playing a game of Sorry or Monopoly or Clue or whatever. Stop Thief was my favorite. Oh my gosh, have you ever played that?
No, I played all the other ones you've mentioned, but I don't think I played Stop Thief.
Oh, it was so cool. It was so cool. Anyway, that's a very cool game. I am glad you showed that off. Now, we're going to get to Reboot in here just a minute. Everyone,
We're
in the
here to talk about
comments,
Reboot, and we're never getting there.
yeah, Tabby Cat says, I love board games. I have Labyrinth board game. It's a treasure. And Tabby Cat says, board games are like D&D. They get you to be present in the moment. Yes, absolutely. And, it's really part of that imaginative play that, look, I've got kids who are late millennial and Gen Z and Gen Alpha maybe, and they just didn't get into the imaginative play. They've got their heads buried in phones and tablets, and it's really kind of sad to me. But
there's a number of games out there that we call gateway games that can take someone who's only played video games to get them to think about board games. There's a tower defense one that's a gateway game called Castle Panic that has enemies coming in waves towards the center, and you got to work cooperatively to defeat them. And that's a really good game for bringing in people who are video gamers only.
One of the games that I'm obsessed with is called Last Defense. It was a Target exclusive published by they redid Fireball Island, Restoration Games. And it uses an app on the phone to narrate the action happening on the board. And it's got a soundtrack, and it is really, truly a great game to introduce someone to board gaming who is so used to having their face in an app. It's really great. But
there's a game like that called Familiar Tales, where you are a wizard's familiar raising a baby through this amazing fantasy world, and just like a magic kind of world. And that game uses an app that reads you the story, and you tell it, okay, well, we succeeded in defeating the bad guy, and like turn the page. Kind of like a choose your own adventure, but you are headed towards a story they're building.
So Willow and Aubrey, are you board gamers? Do you guys love doing board games?
I do play the odd board game here and there. I have played that robot game at a family gathering. The great thing about my husband's family is it's a family of nerds, and family. Oh shoot!
Oh, that was me.
Okay. Family
of nerds.
They will bring games. Sometimes it's like new games that they just bought, and it's like a test run. So that I like hanging around with my husband's family more than I like to hang out with mine.
That's fair. Aubrey, what about you?
To be honest with you, I very much enjoyed a multitude of Clue and Monopoly. Those are my two, honestly, hardcore favorite board game styles. There's a lot of other fun ones. I do have an antique, if you want me to show one off, from the 70s.
So, yeah, wow. When you dig that out.
Okay, I can do that right now.
Really?
Yes. I have
My
it
family has
handy.
banned me from playing Monopoly. We don't play
Well,
Monopoly
listen.
in our home.
While you do that, Aubrey, I'm going to take you out. And while you do that, we're going to check out this cool video from Dr. Malcolm's Body Bags. When I was a kid, the Mighty Men and Monster Makers was one of the coolest toys on the planet. Well, Body Bags takes that idea and ramps it up a notch by doing it in 3D. There are 4 different assortments that come in zippered body bags, and you can mix and match to create your own characters and abominations. Get yours today.
Body bags.
I love that. And I do need to just pop this up here. If you want to get your own, visit them at Instagram.com, Dr. Malcolm's Body Bags on Instagram, and they will hook you up with how to do it. All right, Aubrey, what do you got?
Oh,
What is this?
This is an electronic. We're talking about Reboot. We're talking about an unusual show of its time. This is one of the first electronic games I came in contact with as early as the 70s. It's called The Generals, and it actually has a battery area in the back. And what you do is you each have a side. In this, your side, you get your little guys and you bring them up here to this little button area. And when you push on it with the battery in it, it decides who wins. So nobody has to look at each other's pieces.
huh.
Is it like Stratego?
Interesting.
Where?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So
It
do
feels like
you
it
have
might be like Stratego.
Do you have the pieces that go with it?
I will be able to dig those out. During the move, they did get a little separated. But this does still work. It's a very simple battery area, and it does still work. And
I want to see this in
years.
action.
Okay.
So you're going to have to
Arrange
dig
that.
out those pieces.
Okay.
And by the way, for those of you who are tuning in, this is Weeknight Bites with our very special guest co-host, Dennis Posey. And down at the bottom, we have the banner running for our Patreon. Our VIP Patreon members get to host their own episode, like Dennis is, once a month. And so here he is, and he'll be back again and again and again. Virgil Tibbs says, I had first day with my new tongue. I had Fireball Island as a gift and never played. I heard recently it's worth a lot. So I don't know that it's worth a lot, Virgil, because Restoration Games reissued it, and they reissued a edition of it that's better. It's sturdier. It's a bigger board. It's got more mechanics. I don't know. What, Dennis, do you know anything about the value of the original Fireball Island?
I think the best place to look for that sort of thing is to go like to the Board Game Geek and find that original game and then see what people are selling it for. You know, things are worth what they sell for. The other place to look is on Amazon. The interesting thing is I've seen games where it would appear on Amazon that they're worth hundreds of dollars, but they're only worth that if they sell.
That's right. That's right. By the way, Tabby Cat says, I so want some of those body bags. Well, Tabby Cat, you know where to get them. Visit the partners at Dr. Malcolm's Body Bags on Instagram. Ta-da! So, let's talk Reboot. For those of you who don't know, Dennis picked the topic. I know absolutely nothing about Reboot. So I am the learner here. I am the Padawan. But I know, Willow, that you know a lot about Reboot.
Oh yeah.
And
If there is ever a VHS tape found with nothing but Reboot or Max Steel, that's my tape. It went missing.
Well, I'm gonna let you take over. And Aubrey, are you familiar with Reboot at all?
I did refresh myself some today on some episodes and realized that I had seen it. So I do have an opinion on it, and I am dressed as a character, and I have a cube, a game starting behind me. If you can tell,
Warning,
lines of
incoming
colors, and it was trying to mimic the game
GameCube?
starting behind me.
Interesting. All right,
And
well,
I'm
take it
mouse,
away.
by the way.
So
What's
Reboot
that?
was the very first 3D animated TV show. There was a show that beats it a little bit that only aired in Europe. It's a French show. So when I did my research, I found out about it. But this was the first like real Saturday morning cartoon. It premiered on ABC and YTV in 1994. And what's interesting about that is Toy Story, the animated movie, comes out in 1995. So there was actually the competitive edge between Pixar and Mainframe Entertainment. Who's going to be the first to get? They both used a program called Soft Image that ran on Silicon Graphics computers, are very expensive computers that people were using to do this at the time. And it is my opinion that all of this starts with the movie Tron. So the movie Tron comes out 10 years before Reboot, 11 years before Toy Story. And the Toy Story folks have said if there never was a Tron movie, there would never have been Toy Story. So it's definitely inspirational there. And especially when you think about Tron as using all the animation to show the world inside of a computer with animation that looks good, because to our minds, it's in the computer. That's probably what it looks like in there. There's no real world to say, oh, it doesn't look realistic enough. And that was the kind of reason the Mainframe Entertainment chose this topic of being inside the computer. It's like, well, it's supposed to look like that because it's inside the computer. The folks behind it, the two of the four main developers, they call themselves the Hub, that are the minds behind Mainframe Entertainment.
This is Tron, by the way, for those who aren't familiar with the 1982 movie, which I saw in the theaters, Dennis, and was absolutely blown away. And
I saw it in the theaters too. I absolutely loved it. You know, my dad would take us to the arcade as a treat. So seeing a movie where they're saying, well, what if what's going on in the arcade game machines is real? What if it's really happening? What if all those characters? And so if you think about
and that arcade game, that racing game, was so addictive because it was impossible. It was so hard. I spent so many quarters on that game. It's unbelievable.
One of my favorite arcade games systems is the Tron Upright game. It basically was 4 games for each level. So there was a tank game where you had to maneuver the tank around and shoot the other tanks. And as you went up in the levels, the number of tanks and the speed of the tanks kept going up. And then, like in the movie, they had this giant cone where you had to throw your disc to play Breakout to get your disc through to defeat the master control program. So you had to do that before your guy ran into the block. And then there was like you said, a light cycle race where you were playing, what is that game? Snakes. It was like the video game Snakes, where you had to box in the other character, where you had the ability to speed up, like pull the trigger and speed up, just like in the light cycles. And then the last one had all these spiders, which I think is the one that was less driven by a scene from the movie. But in the Tron movie, there was this point where these spiders sort of popped out of the circuit board. So they had these really long, spindly legs. So that's the inspiration. But basically, these spiders just keep duplicating and duplicating and duplicating. And you've got to shoot enough of them to get through and escape from them. And that's those 4 games are played on each level of the Tron. I loved it. It had great controls.
It was phenomenal game, and of course Aubrey and Willow are both too young to have seen the original Tron in the
I've
theaters.
seen it.
Well, you've
Well,
seen
okay,
it,
not in theaters,
but you, unless you saw it in the theater, you haven't really seen it. It is a movie that was made for the big screen, and I think it works best that way.
In addition to inspiring Toy Story, and I believe inspiring Reboot, and pretty much anybody who was once excited about animation, you know what else the Tron movies inspired? If you didn't have the Tron movie, you would never have had the band Daft Punk. Their whole aesthetic is based on Tron. And what makes it really kind of full circle is they did the soundtrack and appeared in the Tron Legacy movie.
See, I thought you were going to say we would never have the band Devo.
Okay. Maybe. I don't know. But I do know that Daft Punk was so inspired by Tron that when they were asked to be involved with Tron Legacy, they like locked themselves in a room somewhere for a whole year writing the music for that. And doing that and producing the soundtrack for that movie was a goal for their lifetime, and is probably one of the things that led to the band breaking up. they were so passionate about that. But.
Well, that is very cool. Willow, take us through some of these images, and you guys
all right.
just geek out on this.
So, let's start with Mainframe, the city. You got Dod's Diner, which is one of the main spots the show takes place at. It's.
Yeah, so the only 2 pictures that are really evocative here, and they don't even have a zoom in on the central control, the central office, the principal office, which is the circle in the middle. But the 2 big ones here are Dot's Diner, which is a set piece that is on almost every episode, and this is where our main character runs a diner, and everybody comes and hangs out. And then this one, the bottom left, the tour, is Megabyte's Fortress, and we spent a lot of time there listening to him pontificate. The voice actor who does Megabyte absolutely makes the character, and is the far and away the most impressive voice acting in the original cast.
And some might remember his voice, the voice actor who portrayed, I believe he did the voice of Shao Kahn in, no, not Jungle Book. Wow, brain. I had it.
Shere Khan was in Jungle Book.
Okay, so the voice actor's name was Tony Jay. Unfortunately, he had passed away back in 2006. But he's done so much for so many movies. The Hunchback of Notre Dame, he did Frollo's voice.
So Dennis, we had a comment in the chat that we have to address.
Oh, Automan? We're talking about Automan?
Yes. Virgil Tibbs says, I thought you were going to say without Tron, we wouldn't have had Automan. And yes,
and we absolutely wouldn't have, although they did try to distance themselves so they wouldn't get sued.
Well,
Disney,
look at why they would have maybe gotten sued. When you look at where to go, here's I'm going to load the photo of the promo picture from Automan. First, here's Tron. Here's Automan.
it's amazing. So Automan is a low-level police detective at this police station, and he's in charge of their computers there. And he's this sort of stumbles into this ability. He has a cursor. So think of Bit from Tron. They have that little bit, yes, no, bit in no. In Tron, he has this cursor, and it can draw him mostly vehicles. Like that car gets drawn a lot of that Kunta. But then he could get in it and fly around. They did distance themselves story-wise from Tron, and of course, it was drawing things in the real world. It was a sort of flip side of Tron. We take a human being, we put them into Tron. Here, we're taking people. If they'd ever made the third Tron movie, where they were going to do more in the real world with the Tron, it would have been more like Automan.
Well, that's coming.
I've heard that before.
They officially announced it 2 months ago, but I loved Automan as a kid, and you know what? Too. I always wanted Automan to team up with Manimal.
Yeah.
Do you remember Manimal? He could change into different animals, panther, hawk.
Yeah, I remember that. Yes, I do.
And Matthew Starr. Let's put those three on a team. Oh, it would be so epic.
Yeah, then they have to drive around in the Love Bug.
And maybe the Master.
Yeah, not Herbie. What's that? Yeah. Anyway, yeah, maybe. Yeah, Master.
Yeah.
We're dating ourselves here, Johnny.
I know. Aubrey's just sitting over there going, I have no clue what they're talking about.
But back to Reboot.
Go back.
I was thinking about Reboot, actually. I was waiting my turn to talk about the character that I'm dressed up as.
And I could probably guess. Mouse, right?
Yeah.
She was.
So Mouse is a character who gets hinted at in an early season and really doesn't get a chance to really flesh her way out until the third season, where she's the one helping Dot save Mainframe from the total collapse after both Bob and Enzo were sucked away.
Yep, she's played by the Canadian actress Louise Balance or Stevie Balance. I don't know if I'm saying that name correctly. It sounds French, so I'm assuming because it's Canadian that they're going to pronounce it that way. But she has been in amazing things. That's why I wanted to mention her. I had no idea. She has been in everything from Reboot to Sonic as a voice, Donkey Kong, Madeline, Growing Up Creepy. She was on Avonlea, The Ropers, Knots Landing. She had a Mr. Reeve himself, Christopher Reeve, sweep her onto a horse in a show. Outer Limits, Cobra, the first wave Dracula series Forever Night. Like this little voice actress, like you think it's just Mouse. No, the voice behind that. She's a director. She's worked in music. I mean, daytime Emmy receiving. Like she won an Emmy. She worked on Madeline as a music director and did amazing. So
you know what I love
out this actress.
You know what I love about Aubrey? Aubrey always acts so amazed at the resume of some of the voice actors on these series.
They all did an amazing job on these on the voices, though. Like they're all really well.
I have to say, Mouse's Southern accent is so fun.
For a Canadian, y'all. Yeah. I'm just saying, she did good.
I'm gonna have to say this. As much as I love the X-Men, I think she did a better job as with the Southern Belle voice than the voice actress who does Rogue.
Oh, that's fair.
I know that sounds like fighting words, but
controversial, but fair.
So going back to Reboot and when it first starts, and their first season, they don't write any of their own stories. They're so focused on actually writing the software and rendering this stuff. These people are learning how to do the animation during the production of the show because it's never been done before. So the each of the stories is self-contained and is stripped down to ABC's the standards that will pass the Standards and Practices Board at ABC's. So you see some pretty big things they have to do. If you notice, Dot's character doesn't have breasts. She has what they call the mono. But this is not a season one shot. Oh, so
yeah. Sorry, that's
so she does not have the mono boob. If you could see her in this shot, she does have it. It's just like a long bar across her chest area.
Wait, what's the character's name?
Her name is
The-
Dot.
the green
She's Dot
skin Dot?
Matrix.
Yeah, her name's Dot Matrix,
Yeah.
and her brother is named Enzo.
Her brother's named Enzo, and so the producers of this show, or the hub, was what they call the four main guys who were the inspiration behind Reboot and were driving force behind Mainframe, did not want to have a kid on their show, but they were told, you must have a kid on your show to be the point of view character for the audience, because this is a kid's show. So they were forced. He needs to be like an Enzo on your show, and they just took that name. That's where he gets the name. So Dot Matrix is, for those of you who don't know, a type of printer that prints. It has a ball with a whole bunch of pins in it, and it can make letters by doing certain pins in there. I still have one here somewhere. But
the great thing about this show is that each character is named for a part in the computer, or has some kind of
yeah, there are, but
anyway.
like
References.
so
to
the
the
two
computer.
villains, there's
Slash?
Megabyte, right, which is
yeah.
as a measurement of RAM or storage,
Mhm.
and then hexadecimal, which hexadecimal is a 16 base 16 number. It goes from 0 to F. And why 16? Because in binary, 10 is not a significant number. You have 8 and 16, 2, 4, 8, and 16. So you don't want to just throw away the other 6 values that you can get. So you do it base 16 to make optimum use of the fact that 16 is a dividing line in that doubling. So one of the things that's really interesting in this show, and I don't know what impact it had on others when they watched the game, but in this show, you have this town. We showed the town. All these people are living there. There's really 2 classes of people there. They don't talk about it, but there's 2 types of people there. The binomes, which are tall and thin, ones, or they are spheres for 0. And then you have sprites. Those are the main characters, are sprites. So these are all ones.
Oh, they're cute. Were those the toys?
Yeah.
So there's the particular 0 binome that is meant to be Captain Picard, and there's a line where he says, I didn't just say make it so. I also said engage. I said engage more than I said make it so. So
Guys,
anyway.
I found the picture. This is what
There you
you
go.
were referring to.
Yeah, that ABC standards and practices forced. They said a good female character cannot be sexualized.
Oh.
So if you look at hexadecimal, she has a normal chest, and she is super sexualized.
Oh,
If you watched her walk, she's like that country song, walked into Smokies one hip at a time. She definitely has that
Baby's got her blue jeans on.
Right. She's definitely got the whole thing going on. She's super sexualized. She actually does a bunch of racy things over the course of the series. Very suggestive.
Very
Interesting that there was never a problem because she's bad. So as long as the sexy female is tied to bad, or in the case of Mouse, kind of rogue kind of character, it's okay. But you can't have a good character that is considered sexual. But one of the things I wanted to say about this first show is that you have the town that everybody's living in. I talked about the 2 different kinds of characters that are living, and these people are all represented as sentient beings with lives and families and things that matter to them. And as it says in the intro to the show, users live outside the net and input games for pleasure. So they call it mainframe, but it's clearly somebody's personal computer because they're loading a game on it to play it. And what happens is the game comes down, and whatever of these characters, whether they're sprites or binomes in the area, whatever they get absorbed into the game as opponents for the user, and they have the option to reboot. They tap their little insignia, and they get. Yes, Johnny.
I have a question.
Yes.
So I thought that these characters in the show were people from the real world that got sucked in and turned into video game
that's
avatars.
Tron.
No.
No.
Well, I thought it was inspired. That's what I thought.
No, you're thinking about. We should even talk. You might be thinking of the
Captain
Guardian
N and the
code or
Game
something.
Master.
I don't know.
But
So
this is all about. There's a life like in Tron. There was that one character in Tron that was a human from the outside. He was an aberration, but there were all these characters that sort of represented their programmers.
basically, this is like watching the lives of the non-playable characters.
Pretty much.
It's like saying that there are programs inside your computer that are alive and they don't need you to exist. And if you just leave them alone, they'd have their own lives and families and wants and desires. But you have to load your stupid game and risk it. So here is the stakes for every time you play a game. Right? This is what we're teaching kids. Every time you play a game on the computer, here's the stakes. Your game will load into a sector of the city. And if the user wins, every sentient being in that sector gets turned into a little slug-like creature. They call them nulls. And all of the infrastructure, all the buildings in that sector get razed. They're completely destroyed. So Bob is this character, came from outside of mainframe. He's a guardian from the supercomputer. And he has the ability to create portals in and out of mainframe and other towns like that. And he is there. Part of his code is to go into the games and fight the user. Because if the user loses, everybody lives and all the infrastructure stays behind. So you've got this cartoon that is aimed at kids, and so much so that we can't have a normal representation of a female body in the show. And yet we're telling these little kids, every time you play a game, you're killing these sentient creatures.
But
if you win,
the female form definitely got better as the show progressed.
Season 3 and season 4, they have normal female bodies, and that's it's really interesting. So that's kind of the conceit of the first show, and in the whole first season of Reboot, again, the story's not written by Mainframe Entertainment, but written by story writers in Los Angeles, and they try to be inspired by intellectual property that's out there, games that exist, or movie properties. Each one of the episodes has a game in it, a different kind of game, so you can see these characters reboot into fantasy characters or race car drivers, or in the pilot or the first episode, they were like space, and they were flying ships around doing the Space Invaders thing, and but there's always references to Star Trek and a few references to Star Wars. They have references to the X-Files. But in the first season, every episode is self-contained.
References.
Oh, yes. I want to talk about that one. That's kind of my favorite. I saw it today.
So that picture of Elvira is from the first episode of season 3. Yeah, there's this game based on the Angry Dead. Is that the name of it? The Evil Dead.
The Evil Dead movies. It's
wait,
so
wait. Put that image back up, Willie. Because it looks like Dot is going, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Where's mine? Where am I?
Season 1 to season 3.
Yeah, so this is season 3, first episode of season 3, and we go on with a bang to show that Dot's anatomy has been corrected. So the characters never know exactly what they're going to turn into. It's going to be something with the theme of the game, but they tap their badge and they get randomly assigned some kind of. There's a really funny scene there where it's like a Dungeons and Dragons type motif is the game, and Enzo's there and he reboots into like a damsel character with this giant hoop skirt dress. and his legs are so short that the hoops on the bottom of the skirt is holding his legs up off the floor, and he's like scrambling. I can't go anywhere. So in that episode, Dot reboots into Elvira, and Enzo reboots into Michael Jackson in his Thriller costume.
And he dances. He dances.
Yeah, and there's a
The
part
Michael
where he's
Jackson
trying to
dance
use up all the
as
ammo,
Ash,
the
as
user's
the main
ammo. So he's like
character human.
dancing
He's, like,
around and
shooting
trying to
him.
get the user to shoot at
He's
him.
shooting it with a shotgun. It's amazing.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So is this 3-2-1 Thunderbolts Team America looking guy? Is this Bob?
That is Bob.
Okay.
That is Bob. Bob is our
Hold it,
hero.
Johnny.
He is our hero for the first two seasons of the show.
He looks
And
like a
then
marionette from Team America or Thunderbirds
Actually, he does.
He does. I can see that.
I did not see that before.
So, what's interesting is in season 4, which was produced for Cartoon Network, and it was actually produced as 4 years after season 3, and it was produced as 2 movies that were then split up into 4, and it was supposed to be 3 movies and all that. They've gotten so much better at doing the faces that they've gotten to the point of sort of an uncanny valley, where sometimes it's too real looking in the way that they move their faces. So it's interesting that you have kind of both extremes there. But yes, these animators are doing for the first time these animations with the face and features, and they have limited resources, and especially in the first season, you have to just let it go. It's more facial movement than you get in an awful lot of cartoons.
Okay, I will say that the last episode. Come on, is there any fans of what? Oh no!
The Pirates of Penzance?
No, well, no, not that.
Yes.
No, it's the little people.
Yes.
No, wait, hold on.
I am the very model of a modern major general.
Oh,
information,
I wish
chemical,
we could
and
play the song from the end of the season. So there's a song that where the Binomes are acting out the entirety of season 3, all 16 episodes of season 3. The Binomes are dressed up as our lead character sprites on a giant stage, and they are singing that song, or singing to that melody, and they are telling in this amazing style the whole story of season 3, and it is fantastic. It is by far the most satisfying ending of any series, because it was the ending of this series. Most satisfying ending of any cartoon series ever, and it is my first introduction ever to that song from Pirates of Penzance. I had no idea, but I could tell when they were doing it, they were using somebody else's material, right? So then I had to go and look and see what the Modern Major General song was.
Were you not a fan of the Animaniacs?
The Animaniacs are later.
Are you sure?
What do you mean? I'm not a fan of the Animaniacs.
Wait. Now, Animaniacs was on when I was in college. This show wasn't on until what, 96? Reboot?
94.
Oh, yes,
94.
Started in 94. So when was the Animaniacs come out?
It would have been my sophomore year in college,
93.
which was 93.
Okay, so you're right. That was first. I stand corrected.
But by the way,
Okay.
Pirates of Penzance is one of my all-time favorite musicals. And I just realized that my laptop is not plugged in. I'm going to go take care of that right now before it died.
No death. Johnny does not die.
I just have to say that the little people, the ones in the zeros, remind me of our little papoy boys from Despicable Me.
Okay.
The Minions.
Yes, come on.
Yeah.
Come on, think about it. If you've seen Reboot and you've seen them, they're a similar shape and they kind of move similar and they're kind of awkward and silly. Oh, come on. Oh, come on. If you can't see that, you haven't seen Reboot. And they haven't seen this because they're perfect. They're like.
So this is a great shot because you can see more of the background right now than when Johnny's here.
Here, I'll
so
show
on the left
whole
we
image.
have Enzo, and on the right we have Matrix. And for those who haven't watched the show, the journey of Enzo to become Matrix over the course of season 3 has got to be one of the most amazing, heartfelt, thoughtful progressions of, So at the beginning of season 3, Bob, at the end of season 2, Bob was shot out of mainframe into the web. He's gone. We think he's dead.
Dot is
Dot is
destroyed.
mourning his loss. Enzo has just been given like cadet guardian powers. He's like a powered down version of Will Wheaton's character from Star Trek The Next Generation. A
Oh
field
my
promotion to the lowest
God.
rank, right?
Oh my God, you're
And so
right.
yeah, but he's not
Oh.
super powered like Wesley. He is this want to do kid. I want to be great. I want to be like Bob. He's my hero. And then you have this town, as I said, under constant threat of games destroying, killing people. I mean, they don't disappear because, standards and practices. They still exist as little worm things, but ostensibly their lives have come to an end because the game has been lost. And you have this kid who, in addition to wanting to be in the games and wanting to be like Bob, now has the Guardian code inside him, right? He has been field promoted to lowest level Guardian. He has a compulsion to go into the games and win them. So without the skill and the ability, he is going into these games, and through season 3, like the first act of the first 4 episodes of season 3 is his journey of trying to prove his worth. And in that first episode, we saw the Elvira costume and him as Thriller. Nobody's taking him seriously, but he is the reason that they win that game. And so Megabyte's forces have this whole propaganda thing working against him. They want everybody to be afraid because that plays into the virus's ability to take over, sort of strong arm. He's like a mobster kind of a guy. Yeah. Hey, you need my help. Join my gang and I'll protect you and I'll make slaves of you. But he's definitely going on. So Enzo is just really struggling. By the end of that 4-episode arc, he's got the backing of the folks in Mainframe, and he's feeling confident in what he can do. And he ends up in a game that is based on Mortal Kombat that he absolutely cannot win. And so if you see in like that background graphic, you see Matrix is missing his left eye. In that Mortal Kombat game, we see him get stabbed and lose that eye for the rest of the series.
This is not a happy story.
Anyway, so he's lost the game. And what happens when you lose a game?
You turn into worms.
You turn into worms. Everybody dies. Everything goes up. So we had established in season 2 that there are game sprites that come with the game and they leave with the game. And we have this character, Andrea, in that picture. You'll see her all grown up as like the Big Mermaid. It's not Little Mermaid. She's in the background behind Matrix there.
The girl from Atlantis.
Yeah, and she starts out as a little kid, the same size as Enzo, just this little and like Enzo's buddy. And Bob does some magic to let her stay because she's a game sprite. And so that actually introduces this idea that it'd be possible to trick the machine into thinking that a game sprite is a local user or a local sprite, right? And vice versa. So when they lose the game, the dog, Frisket, and Enzo, and Andrea all change their icon to game sprite mode and leave with the game. Now, they're not guardians. Well, he's got guardian code. He's missing a tool that he's supposed to have that he would use to open a portal to go back to mainframe. He can't go back. But if he wins a game on whatever system he's on, he stays in that system. So lose a game, you go away with it. If you win the game, you stay there. So they're hopping from system to system, trying to find the way back to mainframe. But games use so much more processor time. They are running at such a higher system usage level that the characters in there are experiencing time dilation. And he ages to his sister's age over the course of season 3. He becomes an adult, and not just any adult, an adult with missing one eye and having this complex about the virus and losing that game and trying to save Bob and feeling powerless. It has actually weighed on him over this time as he's become an adult, and he has become this hard-edged, very powerful defender and aggressor in the course of in the Pirates of Penzance songs, they call him, he's become a grim aggressor man, right? So he's become this this different kind of character. He's changed radically, and he comes back to Mainframe, which has been destroyed in his absence. A Megabyte has just trashed the place, and Hexadecimal has destroyed the principal office, and the place is just hanging on, about to collapse. And he shows up and is reunited with Dot in probably one of the most emotional scenes I've ever seen in a card. These two characters that you care about, who've been apart and really suffering, not knowing the fate of the other, are finally reunited, and Dot is weeping and embracing her brother. And then he said, "And I succeeded. I brought back Bob." And he moves out of the way, and she loves Bob. We know how much she misses Bob and how important he is to her from all that she's been going through in season 3. And she can't figure out if she wants to shake his hand or hug him. She doesn't know what to do. She's completely overwhelmed by his return.
Wow, this is a much deeper, more rich story than I would have ever imagined. Because I got to be honest with you, in 1994, I was in college, senior year. I hated computer animation, hated it. So I loathed the show without ever having watched it. But now I'm wondering, maybe it's worth my time. But here's the question I have for you, Dennis. How would you feel if they did a reboot of Reboot?
They did.
Oh, they did, and it's an abomination.
Well, with contemporary animation and
so some say that the animation style in the 2018 Reboot Netflix series is not as good as the animation in season 3 and season 4.
Yeah, they're saying the same thing about X-Men 97.
But they remove the story. Mainframe is gone. All of the non-virus characters pretty much do not appear in the show. Hexadecimal and Megabyte do. And the show is about 70% live action, Power Rangers style movie, kids going through high school. And those kids teleport into cyberspace to fight Megabyte and the evil sorcerer, which is a human being on the outside who's controlling Megabyte. And they wear suits. They each have a vehicle that they operate. I mean, it's very Power Rangers-y. They each have
that sounds like a
Breakfast Club kind of thing going on. There's the one nerd and one jock and one cool girl, and yeah,
Oh boy.
2018.
Oh, see, I like this.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Doesn't look like Reboot though.
No.
That's why I like it.
Yes, there's a reboot insignia. They never reboot ever, but they have the insignia.
Oh no.
There's no game. There's no game downloading. There's no people who live in the computer except for the 2 viruses.
So really, it's not the same thing. It's they just use the name and the character names, but really it's a different show.
It's a completely different show. So those who really loved Reboot, and after season 4 airs on Cartoon Network, and again, it was truncated, and so the end of the fourth season, which only has 8 episodes because it was truncated, is a cliffhanger. Megabyte is back in power, and he says, "Prepare yourself for the hunt." And we never see the hunt. We don't know what happens. But he's in control of the principal office, and he's making this big challenge, and something scary is going to happen, and we never. So Mainframe Entertainment at this point is millions of dollars in the hole, and they are a publicly traded company, and they get bought by this firm called RNG, and they rename the studio Rainmaker Studios. And over the course of a decade, they keep saying Reboot's coming back. They'll create a little clip. They'll talk about how great it's going to be. They'll say it's coming soon. And 3 times they did that, and it just faded away. They never even said they weren't making it. It just disappeared. And then in
When was the last time we heard about it?
That I don't know, but it was long before the 2018 release of the Guardian Code with Netflix. But by that time, they were called Mainframe Entertainment again.
Okay. The company is best known for production of its first fully computer animated show, Reboot. They did Beast Wars, and they did a relaunch of Transformers from Hasbro, and they also produced Barbie.
Oh, so many Barbies.
So yeah, all the computer animation Barbie movies.
I've seen every single one of those movies.
Why is that, Johnny?
Barbie
Because
movies are actually really popular.
You living in a Barbie world?
Yes, I'm a Barbie girl. No, because I have a daughter that was obsessed with Barbie and the Barbie movies, and that played nonstop on a loop for 10 years.
Some of them were kind of funny. I have to admit, my daughter did get 2, and I didn't hate them. I wanted to, but in the background, after you've seen them a 3rd time and they start making you laugh, you're like, really? Did I laugh at that? Oh my God.
Well, hey, listen, guys, we are already at the top, past the top of the hour. So we really got to wrap this up, but
we'll have to revisit Reboot.
Yeah. So now you've made me want to go watch it. Because it is very complicated. And our smart-ass audience member, Virgil Tibbs, asked, did you get all of that, Johnny? Ha ha, not too complicated. See, Virgil made a comment on our last video, Aubrey, said we really didn't know the material well enough to talk about Silverhawks.
Oh, well, was he there to give us more pointers?
No, that's why he's here now.
Okay, awesome. Well,
but
he can help us out next time.
Yeah, we love Virgil. He's been very active on our social medias. And Virgil,
I can answer Virgil's question here about ABC. Okay, you want to talk about Dire Straits?
Yeah. He did ask. So did Reboot start on ABC but finish airing on Cartoon Network?
ABC is the first to agree to give them money. And when it initially aired, the first season, it aired on ABC and YTV in Canada. And after the end of the first season, or after the first season has come out, ABC is bought by Disney. Disney is wanting to get their projects out there. They're not looking to have this. So they had already produced or were producing season 2. Season 2 was going to air, but they let them know that's it. We weren't going to do any more. And so, if you do watch it, Johnny. So season 1 is interesting. It's good. There's some fun stories there, but just realize that none of those stories are ones that the Mainframe Entertainment wanted to tell. When you get into season 2, they start writing some of their own stories, and about halfway through that season, they realize they're not going to be on ABC anymore. So they say, "Who cares about your standards and practices? What are you going to do? Cancel us?" So they start writing this type of stories that they want to write about halfway through season 2. Now, at the end of season 2, they're no longer airing on ABC. They have not found any U.S. distribution. But YTV is like, we love your product, and the Canadians love your product.
Because it's Canadian content, and we need more of it.
You make your reboot show however you want. You send us the tapes and we'll air it. And they had complete freedom. So season 3 is absolutely the show they would have done if they had complete control. It is 16 episodes long. It is essentially 4 movies with an overarching 16 episode story and 4 longer stories that are interesting and fit together, telling the story of what's happening in Mainframe, what's happening with Enzo, what's happening with Bob, and then the final confrontation. And ending with that amazing musical. So season 3 is exactly what they want to do. Even when they do season 4, as I said, they didn't get to do everything they wanted to do. They had their budget cut halfway through. Season 3 is really what Reboot would have been if the people who originally envisioned it got to do their image. So definitely, if you're going to watch, you got to get to season 3. So what about Cartoon Network? So 2 years after we air season 3 on YTV in Canada, and the Reboot fans in the US are like bootlegging it and trying to figure out how can I watch it. Cartoon Network agrees to air it and to fund a season 4. So they air all 3 seasons of Reboot as Cartoon Network does, rapid paced, show one every day kind of thing. And then they air season 3, and they give it kind of that prime time space because it's never been seen in the US. And meanwhile, season 4 is happening. And so that's why season 4 comes out 4 years after season 3 appeared in Canada.
Very interesting. So Virgil Tibbs, and we're going to give Virgil the last word from our audience. He says, yeah, I'm sleeping on Saturday morning. Womp, womp, womp.
It must be nice. You know what? I am okay. I love my Saturday morning fam now. I have to admit, even though most Friday nights I am not asleep when I should be, I am still up with you guys 90% of the time.
And sometimes
And
you don't
raring
go
and
to
ready
sleep
go.
at all. Like on that trip to Dalton, Georgia.
No, there was not much sleeping.
We had a road trip from hell, Dennis, when we went to HoloCon in October.
Like a nap was necessary the next day. I don't know how I was still going.
Yeah, it was crazy. Anyway, I want to thank you, Dennis. We're going to do this again because as a VIP member, you get to do this once a month with us. So we'll start thinking about what you want to talk about next time.
Talk about gummy bears.
All right.
Ooh,
Gummy bears bouncing here and there and everywhere.
Oh my gosh, I'm bouncing.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Although Virgil Tibbs does say, I'm looking forward to Galtar.
Oh,
Listen.
Virgil, I'm looking forward to you becoming a Patreon member so you can be on here and tell us what's what in person.
Yeah, that's right.
Listen, you guys, we're going to talk about Galtar this Saturday morning. I love this show.
Uh-oh.
Oh my gosh, I've been watching it all day today. This thing, I can't wait to share my opinions. It's going to be epic. Anyway, we got to go. But Dennis, is there anywhere folks can follow and find you online? Are you active on social media?
Would you like to be
You live
found?
in Tennessee. You live in Tennessee. I have a book and game store in Pulaski, Tennessee.
Wait, you what?
Come by. Yeah, so I have a 6,000 square foot used books and board games store in the downtown square in Pulaski, Tennessee.
Wait.
I have a huge game library. You can come in and check out a game and sit down and play it. Then you play one of our games, I'll give you 10% off if you want to buy it.
Why have I not heard about this store until just now?
Well, we are
You'll
not
have to
the
go
kind.
with me, Johnny.
No. Here's what we need to do. We need to do a live episode from the store.
I warned him about that. We need to. You're right.
Congrats, Dennis! You just became one of our sponsors.
Well, he
Yeah.
is. He's a VIP Patreon.
There
So
you go.
anyway, awesome. Send me truthfully, send me more details about the store because I want to come down and check it out. I had no idea, and I need an excuse to get back down to the Star Theater and the Lyric Opera House.
Oh yeah, the Star Art Theater. Yeah, you need to tour the Opera House above the theater. If
I've
you
I've
have-
done
I've
it.
never been.
I did my swinging at the Roxy show at the Star Theater 5 years ago, and I'm dying to come back. So anyway, well, all of you watching, thank you again, Dennis. Follow Willow at Skylar Productions on all of the socials. Follow Aubrey at Miss Kindred Ivy on Instagram and all of the other socials. And follow me at johnnybeyond.com. And Dennis, I can't wait till next month. We'll talk about gummy bears.
Sounds good. I'll be there.
And until the next time, everybody, love you, mean it. We'll catch you
Catch ya
on the back of the cereal box.
Box.
It's like Coca-Cola, Levi Strauss,